Priya Paul. A very, very warm welcome.
Thank you.
Chef Sabi. And with us also is Suresh Hindujaji from Bangalore. I'd be interested in knowing that when you think of starting or designing a menu for a restaurant, or even in your case deciding what cuisine should you choose, would mood and food and what you would want to, the whole activity of pleasure and
You're actually appealing to many different moods and many different ideas of food and ideas of pleasure in a wider audience. I mean, I don't know. That's
and you enjoy that thoroughly, I'm sure.
well, it's complicated. I mean, as you, I am not a real believer in having 55 things in a menu, but in sometimes you just have to cater to a wider group of people. Sometimes you can be a little more specific, and I think when you're a little more specific in your selection, you actually, as a chef or as a chef owner or whatever, you can actually, let's say, curate the mood or kind of curate the mood in a more cohesive manner. Does that make sense? I mean, just, yeah, otherwise you're sometimes all over the place.
So coming back to the core topic that we were discussing, that mood. I think a lot of food that is made or handmade has to do a lot to do with the mood. And when you're making food handmade, it can't have so many dishes. It's all very logical. If you talk about memories, childhood memories, food memories, best travel and food memories, you'll always associate them with a few things. You always associate a restaurant or your favorite eatery or your favorite hotel by a dish or couple of dishes. It's never like that, oh, I come to Samiana and remember all the 50 things. So it's very strange that our memories only serve us only that much, not even top 5, top 2, top 3. Correct me if I'm wrong, you constantly eat out in restaurants and hotels.
True, but it takes 55 dishes to start off with for 3 to be reaching the top. Because the restaurant dynamics are so weird, nobody on this planet can predict what works and what doesn't work. The best dishes have actually not worked because they made sense to the chef and the creator and the restaurant owners, but the public decided otherwise. Right. So you have no idea of saying. So yes, to start off with 55 is a good figure. So the mood is set by the good visual impact that it has. Since the advent of social media and food bloggers and so many digital cameras, everybody is a professional photographer. If it looks like a good photograph, it's already started looking good to you, and the taste starts getting enhanced from that itself.
Yeah. Well, that's a very interesting thing what you just said, because Chef Sabi, it's a proven fact that you've got, our brain has neurotransmitters, and so when you're eating something, your neurotransmitters completely get stimulated. Absolutely. And the food industry, in fact, is spending billions of dollars across the world. Why? Because they want to increase the sugar, the salt, and the fat intake. That's it.
Yeah, and I think that's a valid point. But I think, mood is not just about sugar, I think it could be, do you go back to Ayurveda and really, I mean, that's really to me, looking at your body's mood and your body's constitution, actually designing food that's for you, which actually helps you in a more holistic manner to derive that, I don't know, more sustainable pleasure.
Sure. Yeah.
Is that, I think that's, so
longer,
Ayurveda is very highly customized as far as this goes. And you look at your humors, are you Vata, Kapha, this thing,
yes,
whatever else.
Absolutely.
And you take that forward. So it's not just, tomorrow you might have a restaurant that actually
There are interesting efforts being made. I know Devang is one who's doing a similar effort. There's one in Dubai who's doing that. They're studying your Ayurvedic nature of the body and subscribing a particular meal or a diet for you. So primarily, I think the summary of it is that going back to our old learning and taking up things from Ayurveda to the grandmother's recipes, jo totka bolte hum log, things like that, which also enhances the mood, keeps you agile and active through the day, through eating natural stuff.
I totally couldn't agree with you more. And I'm sure on NDTV, of course, we write about it constantly, regularly. And I have my colleagues here who will back me up on that. Priya, do you do that with your menus, which is to go back to... one thing I've always liked about the food in your restaurants is that you stick to what's authentic. So if it's a Chettinad curry, it'll be a Chettinad curry, as authentic as possible, and trust me, it tastes bloody good. So what I want to know is, would you sort of make an effort now, going by what Chef Sabi just said, to go back to your roots, to try and incorporate in our diet what,
when we did an Indian restaurant in the hotel in Delhi and then of course in Calcutta, one of the things is we looked at is the authenticity, is going back to actual recipes that people brought even from their grandmothers. I said, go and find your own family recipes, and let's look at some of those things. And also I believe in, I think you have to in India work with season and seasonal vegetables and seasonal changes in menus, which I don't think many of our restaurants do. They do it they really don't look at the seasons and the different types of produce that's coming out. And it changes dramatically, and I think what has happened also, there's been a growing movement, I would say, particularly in the past 4 or 5 years, with farmers markets, with a little more discovery of what's out in the hinterland, what's dying as as grains and other things. It's not just the grains, it's the vegetables. How often do you see shalgam and kohlrabi on hotel menus? You don't see those vegetables. You don't see tori.
Right.
I mean, why don't we have all those type of vegetables which are fresh and can be done in so many different ways? So I see there's a little more of a growing movement in that. I think not enough as yet, but good enough.
So the new we've got to wrap up, I know. But a quick thing: would you ever, if somebody told you, okay, you know what, let's get onto this diet. It's excellent. It's being talked about. It's being raved about around the world, and it's great. Why? Because it's going to help you to lose weight, and we all want to be slim and lose weight and all of that. But if it's going to be a downer, and a lot of diets are. Trust me, I've been there. I've done that. Trying to give up carbs. And then just saying, I'll only eat the eggs, I'll forget the toast, I'll only eat the chicken and the fish and forget. It eventually is messing up somewhere or the other. So I don't know, would you sort of take on that diet and carry on with it? Or would you just say, hey, heck, at the end of the day, if it's going to make you feel low in energy, low, when it comes to dealing with others, is it really worth it?
I do no carb diets for times, but I break it.
You break it. Good. So
Eventually, after 3-4 days.
Cheap diets. See, I think just to quickly wrap up, in India we always had specific diets been given to specific professions. So that's why Tamasic, Rajasic and all these differentiations were made. It is directly proportional to the amount of calorie you're going to burn every day. If somebody is working on the field or running or an athlete, they need a certain diet. We're not fighting anymore, of course, but if you are fighting, so you have that Rajasic diet. So for the ones who are got a sedentary lifestyle and you're going to be sitting in front of a computer doing social media, I'm just kidding. You probably only need to look at the pictures of the food and not eat them.
Okay, now I'm
or eat them in moderation.
Everybody wants to know this, I'm sure. So quickly, 2 mood elevating foods.
For me?
Personally, not on your
Oh
menu.
God,
what works.
it has to be Mishti Doi and Rasgulla.
Oh boy.
Oh my God, you can't do that.
I said mood elevating, I never said good for you. Mood elevating.
Red wine?
Ah,
I don't know if that counts as a food.
it is, it does. Of course it does.
Actually, bread and cheese. I mean, as a combination.
Bread and cheese. Lovely.
Or
Nice.
cheese and crackers, whatever.
Cheese and crackers.
Something like that. And that's a good
Fish,
combination. all
It
three.
is, it is.
Food made from hops, rye,
Nice.
Beer?
You could just
barley,
say beer.
Are you saying
barley.
beer?
You could just say beer.
Barley.
Just say beer.
I think it's mentioning that I live in a brewery, so
So basically, good quality good single malt whiskey of my type and Valrhona chocolate. Period. Nothing else.
Wine and chocolate. Lovely. And anything that when you consume, you feel like, good gosh, I need to get away from this. It's not doing me any good. Which I think is, as Priya said, partly psychological because,
No, unfortunately, I'm too much of a foodie, as you said. So
nothing gets
there's
you.
nothing that I wouldn't try. I mean, as yet.
good gosh, you sound like part of our team.
Some strange animals I won't do. But
Strange animals.
I went to a safari, and the same animals that were running wild that they wanted you to conserve and everything are served on a platter. I just couldn't handle it.
So I know
Like all
the
the
same
antelope,
happened to me,
I couldn't
but
handle it.
crocodile came and I was told it's very tasty, and then I thought to myself quickly, I said crocodiles eat human beings. They're evil. So I will eat this. And thank God I did because it was one of the tastiest
Oh, I couldn't.
meats.
But
But
the crocodile
zebra I
was fine,
couldn't.
Yeah, it was
It
all that
just,
antelope, and I couldn't just do it.
anything that gets you down?
No,
No,
can
you
eat
say-
anything practically.
Anyway, I think there's been a lot of fun. Thank you very much. Oh, sorry.
What?
Anything that gets you down?
gets me down.
Any food that you feel?
I think in the kitchen what happens is as chefs we eat very small meals. because we're constantly tasting or in between. You know, you're like quickly going through everything. I think for most chefs, I will speak for myself and the chefs fraternity, that every time you sit down for a very large meal, you feel a bit kind of lost. You're like, what the hell just happened? Because, you know, you're always eating smaller bites of things through the day. So it's not a bad thing, but I think it's only the guys in the white jacket are not used to. They probably should sit down and do more, you know, food, eating, sampling, tasting, then cooking.
We shall keep that in mind. Thank you very much, all of you, for coming here and chatting about this mood and food.
Pleasure.